tell us about
heartfelt.
how you made the pieces, because several people have asked that. I've been schooled in it for Ray and Ron, but maybe other people would not.
Well, let's see, how far back would you go with that? If you're just talking straight
Yeah, from the
process,
source material to the wall, yeah.
these are direct images of inmate IDs, ID cards. Just like your ID, like your DMV ID, same size and everything. So you got a little image on the top. And all of these images were, these IDs were Xeroxed onto just an 8.5 page, put on the platen by an officer at the prison, at San Quentin prison, in the school area. And he Xeroxed that. And I would look at that every day, when I was preparing to leave the place. And I've known all these guys for 12 years. They work at the school where I taught. So they're my co-workers, these guys. And so I wanted a keepsake when I got home to remember these faces and so on. So I Xeroxed the Xerox off the cop's wall and brought it home and stared at it for months and couldn't put it away and thought, these are cool to look at. So then I ended up just scanning it. I thought, I'll paint a portrait of them. And then I put them on the computer and blew them up, and they were like, wow, you can't, how are you going to do that? A bunch of dots? It's a photograph. So then I started looking into the idea of just printing the photograph, making a print like what Ray does, with all these this new data technology and digital technology. It's just so easy. Why mess up the studio with a bunch of paint? That's a joke. So it was a natural.
Ron's leaving the building.
So it was a natural just to print them out like you would a photo, And so I blew a couple of them up on screen there and sent them over to Ron, and he said, these look cool, do some more. So it ended up being 27 of them with plus. And then Ray made a few prints, and it looked so cool, and we had to adjust like the DPI, I could only you blow them up any more than that, and they'll pixelate, or they'll turn into something I didn't like, where you're revealing like the technique too much, So I like the idea that they were photographs, but they are paintings too, but without getting the brush wet. They're I don't know how we would even describe that. It was really interesting, the convergence of the technologies in our moment here made for these, what I thought were really interesting images.
Did you have a philosophical impetus to?
Well, I'm an advocate for, justice.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so when it comes to displaying someone's face, making a portrait out of someone's, that must be that could be like the lowest point in a guy's life, that he's got a prison ID, so.
Are they aware, are these guys aware that you have?
Some of them are aware of it, yeah. That's a trick, I'm a risk taker kind of guy, I figure the risks, if I figure in anything I do that the reward outweighs the risk, the results, the reward after the project, without any risk to come in, I'll dive in and do it, You gotta cross a lot of lines sometimes. So I feared liability for, because you come out of there, I worked there for 17 years in the prison industry as a teacher. And it's rough, it's traumatizing, not just for the prisoners and the guards and everybody, it's rough in there, So and that's where I start losing my train of thought. What was your question again?
Are these people aware that you've used their image?
It's not even, it's impossible to even get their permission, When I left there, a few of them are dead, some of them are out. One of them lives in Long Beach, and I've been inviting him in. Are you here, Chuck? I don't think he made it tonight. He might come for the show later in the week or something. He didn't make it tonight. I really wanted him to be here. I thought that would be cool. I would just give him the portrait I made of him, But it's really hard to get, like if you wanted to write a letter to that guy, it'd be tough to do it. I don't think you could find out who he is. That's what I was really concerned about. As long as I protect their privacy, even though it's his face. If you don't know, does anybody here know any of these guys?
No.
It's isn't that Charlie from down the street?
The number, the PID number on this, wouldn't that be an
Don't you have the
identifier?
name?
So, but to look up a guy And I invite anybody to do it right now because it changes all the time. But you could on your phone right now go to
Yeah, I mean,
CDCR.
that guy's 97, that was taken in 97, so he didn't look like that anymore.
You could go, there's all those kinds of things you gotta think about, you know? You shouldn't have to. When we first started talking about it, I said, Ron, I can make a portrait of anybody I want to. But then when you're dealing with wards of the state, like, these guys are considered property,
Right.
actually. They're
Yeah.
property
Yeah.
of the state. So like, the state owns them, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't dare talk to the state about it. I have a friend there who writes books and stuff, and he wrote this book about an escape in prison. He was a teacher there, and then he quit, and then but before he finished that book, he asked the prison authority, would you mind if I did this book, and gave him a proof of it and stuff, and wanted to get their approval. That's how paranoid you get after working there.
Right, sure.
So but, you know,
Now, did you go into that because you had a predisposition to it, or did you just fall into it?
I needed a job. I had a BA. I still needed a teaching credential. I taught 4 years in high school. After like a career in the showbiz stagecrafts, that's where I met Ron Linden, president of IATSE at the time when I got in.
Local 816.
The local 816.
And it's been all downhill
And so,
You mentioned them as property. Do you see them as some kind of state slave?
do I? No, they often do themselves, and there's a lot of rhetoric about that inside, yeah, about like this is slave labor and stuff. I had my own take on that, you know, too, that